everyone, and welcome to the LEC live from the Riot Games Arena in Berlin, Germany. I'm Ginny, and today I am joined by the decorated pro player, seasoned veteran, educational content creator Broxa, and GB.
Yeah, I was going to say, wait, I wonder where you're going to go with me after that one. But, I mean, yeah, my legacy's not as good as Brox's, but it's
What
okay,
legacy?
you know, I'm trying. I mean, you know, I'm trying to make it, but, you know, it's not looking good. Anyways, great to have you back as host as well,
Wait,
Ginny,
you're
so
flaming
welcome.
him?
No.
Oh, okay.
I'm being really nice. I don't think this is considered flame, you know. I know you've experienced in solo queue, but we're keeping it cool today. Either way, let's have a recap and let's see everything that's going on here at the LEC. Starting off with last week particularly, to my surprise, I want to talk about MDK and their current standings on that leaderboard. It's looking a little sad.
I mean, it absolutely is, right? I think most people expected more of MDK, and the reason for that is that the potential on the roster is high. We've even seen what they were able to do in winter, but the question that's on most people's mind now is just, why can't they replicate that? Did they already peak back then? And as it's looking going into this summer, it is looking like they're past that peak, but I just don't get it, because I agree with most people that the potential is there. We see the individual skill level. Sometimes they just struggle to close out a game, or it's something completely unrelated to that too. It's just, there's mysteries around this team that I cannot figure out.
Yeah, and then you have the opposite side of the coin where we're looking at SK, and we're like, oh, did they peak in winter? Is this it? Is it 2023 all over again? But SK is currently 4-1.
Yeah, it seems like getting rid of that bot lane. Unfortunately for Dozen extra kick, but you know, great for the organization. Has worked out massively. Like the two Koreans coming in has made such a huge difference, both in terms of the laning phase coming out of bot lane, but especially the consistency in team fights. They're just always on point.
Yeah, and they've had that success due to some changes, but then you're looking at Fnatic, and this is a team that had no changes. The only change really is they went to MSI, they got respectfully stomped a little bit, and they came back, but they came back stronger than ever.
Yeah, I guess they learned from North America, you know,
Okay,
tricks out of Team Liquid.
Were you
came back
paid to say that by Liquid?
I mean, maybe.
I knew
Who
it.
knows? Anyways, no. I think Fnatic is coming back and looking pretty much like what we expected to see from G2, really. Their consistency, their ability to not only play well while ahead, but also come back from behind. Like, they're just so dominant right now.
Yeah, and I really think it's the way that Fnatic is doing it as well. To really expand on your point as well with Fnatic, Broxa, I think it's the fact that they have become so much more tempered in their own aggression. Their choice of picking up team fights is a lot better than it was in the past. They know exactly when they need to engage and when they shouldn't. In a play like this, old Fnatic, and we've all seen it, would dive headfirst in immediately to take that fight. But this time around, they're waiting for us Rinning, they're waiting for the right moment to strike, and they're waiting for the perfect team fight.
And I think more than anything, you don't necessarily need everybody to perform at once. If one guy has a bad game, the rest are going to cover for him and, you know, step up when it matters. And ultimately, yeah, the team fighting is great. They always know where to be at the right time, how to set Noah up for success, how to play around Humanoid when he's the strong one. And it's just really impressive.
Yeah, I mean, just looking at your screen, right? It's the reaction time you get through a teleport as soon as one member is in over their head and they just turn immediately.
It's also worth pointing out that this is a Fnatic that somehow is 5-0 right now. I'm not sure what's going on, but the Fnatic that I know and that I've been part of and witnessed for the past, I don't know, 5, 7, 8 years, they always lose early.
Aren't you
they
supposed
always
to be a
start
Fnatic
slowly.
fan, though?
Well, Fnatic fans are probably shocked right now. Because no one expects Fnatic to look so good, so controlled at the start of a split. We're used to them struggling in the beginning, coming back, looking for a miracle run, and then eventually, you know, being one way away from being knocked out, still making it to MSI or making it to Worlds.
Yeah, everyone's just thinking, am I in a dream right now? Should I wake up tomorrow? What is actually happening?
Exactly.
But yeah, it is reality for now, and it's a good reality for a Fnatic fan.
Yeah, particularly when we're looking at the games that they have ahead, but also the fact that they've already locked themselves in for playoffs. 5-0 is a formidable start for them, so you don't get like the heart rates going crazy a little, and everyone's doing a bit fine. But comparing them to G2 as well is something that we need to look into.
Yeah, absolutely, because most people in spring said that we were a one-team region, and you know, they'd be right. What I'd really love to do then is look at G2 when Europe was a one-team region, and then Fnatic with their comparative stats as well. Because Fnatic's stats up there is up there too in terms of their average game time, in terms of how quickly they actually elevate their gold difference, in terms of what it looks like at 20, how quickly they grow it to. You can see it on your screen right now, 1.8k at 20, but at 25, it's already at 4k immediately. And on what I think is most impressive about Fnatic, and I've talked about this a lot, is still their KDA, that they're going through. They used to have a lot more deaths included. Like, there were still win games, but it'd be messy. They're a lot more cleaner with the way that they emphasize their gameplay now. And I would never really bring KDA up by any team. I think it's a useless stat. But specifically for Fnatic right here, it actually shows that they're cleaning up.
So we're a one-team region, but this time it's a different team.
No, we have lots of other teams showing up, Ginny. It's not just one.
We actually do. But that's it of the Fnatic Glazing segment. We're going to be talking about the other teams here at the LEC that are doing really well, starting off particularly with BDS. And this feels like a team that's always a bridesmaid, never the bride. They get so close, but this time could be different.
Well, hopefully it will be, because we're so used to BDS going under the radar. They've just been the consistent, third best team in the league, always falling behind G2 and Fnatic. And I think right now they're playing a slightly different style. They're kind of finding their footing within the new meta, playing around Shiro and all.
Great content.
And one thing that we've always known is the case with BDS is, well, the intros is one thing, but they're immaculate team fighting. It usually doesn't matter how the style of the game goes. They're just so good as a team.
That was at least in cosplay, or am I tripping?
Honestly, I was too busy looking at Brox while he was talking. I didn't actually see it.
You do that a lot. Like, we're used to it by now.
Can you blame me?
I'm not the target audience. Either way, BDS though. It feels like when we're looking at BDS, it hasn't just been the fact that they're playing more together, it's more around the team, but also individual shifts that we've seen from players, Adam being a particular one.
Yeah, I think that Adam has always been a guy that we're talking about his champion pool when we are talking about it, but he's been trying to expand that a lot. Even by the end of last year, he was trying to expand it, but already coming into this summer now, you can see a clear difference in his guard champions from 2023 to his new champions that he's bringing out here in 2024, because he wants to evolve. He wants to be more reliable than just a pocket pick that can come in every now and then in a good situation.
And I think now we have a player that's not Broken Blade, that can actually play all these random carries, and that's going to make it really hard for teams to draft going up against BDS.
Yeah, but for me, honestly, while Adam is doing this, I don't even think this is the most impressive change that's coming out from BDS. For me specifically, I actually think that Sheo and the way that the entire team is now choosing to play around him has changed the entire way that BDS really approach how to go into game. And as you said earlier, Mads, we often saw them as a stale team. They're always really good at team fighting, but now they're finding different ways to do it through Sheo.
Yeah, and that's something to look at as well, because when we're seeing changes, I mean, you're talking about the carries in the top lane and the jungle, the impressive role that we've seen from Sheo in terms of how he has been carrying games as well. And he's not just playing one singular champ called Sejuani, which is fun.
I think it just comes down to them, finding a new identity almost, or recentering themselves, because Adam in particular has always been roaming a lot. Sometimes in the past the roams would work, sometimes didn't, but now they have a clear purpose, and usually utilizing those roams to set the jungler up for success, who then can easier help everybody else, just makes everything flow so nicely and naturally.
Yeah, and I still think BDS is in the evolution phase. Right now, Sheo's stats looks fantastic when he's playing champions like Karthus or Taliyah, where he's trying to accelerate his own lead as a jungler, but it also comes with a cost. At times, they could be better at saying, wait, I shouldn't actually counter jungle, I should cover my bot lane instead for a dive, but as we've already said, they're experimenting, they're trying to evolve, and as a BDS fan, this is exactly what you want to see, because it's what kept them from being great in the past.
Yeah, you should not experiment in solo queue by letting AP junglers open, just ban that. Free tip here that we're giving out in either way. But when we're looking at BDS particularly, we always say that they're so close. They're forming a new identity. They're evolving. What are we looking for particularly today against Rogue?
Well, honestly, I don't want to be too mean to Rogue, but right now,
you don't?
Right now, if you're aiming for the top, you need to look very convincing against this team. I think in a lot of ways it could also be a redemption game for Rogue. Like if they, come in and smash BDS, maybe there's hope after all. If they play the way they have, BDS should just convincingly get an early game advantage. Don't give them any briefing room at any point and just outclass them in team fights.
Yeah, honestly, I think you just continue to have Sheo as that spearhead that you just attack through, because Rogue's gameplay, as we all know, has unfortunately been a bit slow. And I think a team like BDS, who's experimenting with this new style, should have a field day against Rogue, who's been struggling on this specific era. So yeah, I hope that BDS can keep up the pace, but also I hope that Rogue as a team can try and match it a bit and iron out their issues, because they are looking in a very tough spot right now in terms of elimination.
Yeah, but also when we're looking at Rogue, though, I think we have to bring into consideration the fact they've played G2, Fnatic, and SK. These are the teams that towards the top of the leaderboard. So yes, they've had issues, but realistically, how apparent were those?
I think the issues have been very apparent, and I mean, looking at schedule is one thing, but I think what we've seen, there's no excuses really. They need to just come in with an entirely different approach, and what I would love to see from Rogue is just at this point, you don't have pressure anymore. I mean, sure, you do in some ways, but it can only go up from here. Just literally start from scratch, try to look at going for some strategy that works for you, play aggressive, take matters into your own hands, and if it doesn't work, that's fine. But just do something.
Oh, you're a great motivational speaker. You know, maybe if this never works out for you, you should go into that. But we have this new tech here at the studio called the Teleport IRL. So we're gonna be heading over to Genie, who is sitting down with Markoon in the Marriott Bonvoy pre-game lobby.
You're trolling me.
Thank you so much, Genie. Welcome, everyone. We have Mark from Rogue joining us for the interview today. Let's start off with last week, particularly. I want to highlight the G2 loss because that was the first one that we've seen so far this year. What happened there?
Yeah, I mean, we got like off to a bad start, and then they're G2, right? So you give them an early lead, and they just kind of kept pushing. And we actually, I think we did decent holding on, and we managed to find a nice few picks. We almost made like a little comeback in the end, right? But yeah, the Caps Tristana split push was a bit too much, and then still a loss.
How does it feel to lose a game like that? Because I was traumatized, but I want to talk from your perspective.
Yeah, I don't know. I was like, we just had to fight at Nash, right? And Tristana was split pushing. And yeah, like when I heard my Corki died, I was like stressing a bit, but we just killed him. So I was like, for the first time in that game, I finally had hope. And then I heard Finn say like, oh, I can hold him. And then we're like, okay, let's get Nash. We can get Nash. And everything was happy. And then like, Tristana starts hitting our towers, and Finn says, oh, maybe you guys need the base. And then they stopped Caitlyn. And then suddenly all the hope that I had finally gotten just like crushed instantly. It was pretty sad, yeah.
That seems to be kind of like a bit of a theme so far, but you've had the difficult teams. You've had SK, you've had Fnatic, you've had G2. So coming up against BDS and some of the teams who are more towards your side of the bracket, what are you looking forward to today particularly?
I don't know. I try to not look too much at like the opponents. Like even when we play like G2 or Fnatic, I don't think what they're doing is like so special, and even them, they feel like very beatable. So I kind of want to just focus on ourselves, because I know that when we play good, we can like beat teams like even like the G2 Fnatics and the SKs, right? Like we can also beat them. So I'm not really too worried about who we're playing.
So what is it then that you're doing from Rogue, from a particular standpoint, to go into these games, especially like someone like BDS?
I mean, we look at their games, right? We try to see what they're like comfortable at. Like now that we have like one more scrim day as well to prepare for the games, you get to like actually prep comps a little bit more, of like specifically what you want to play into teams, which is nice. So I think we've been mainly doing that this week and just making sure that we're comfortable in what we're playing this week.
Like a scale from 1 to 10, how comfortable are you
In what?
in this game today?
In
Or
this
the
game?
whole week, the whole week. You can go for
I don't know. I
that.
think we had okay scrims this week. We had like some better days and some worse days, but overall, like I feel like we keep improving each week, which like gives me comfort. But we have been playing catch up for a while now, so each time I feel that we improve, I also feel like other teams slightly improve, sometimes more, sometimes less. So as comfortable I am in the fact that like we improved this week, I also know that maybe they improved. So we'll see. I feel okay.
All right, well, that's good to hear. Sounds very comforting and hopeful, but we're going to be heading over to our casters, so Medivetti, take it away.